Hey, folks. Hey, everyone. How y'all doing, people? It was on my heart, and I'm gonna actually post something on my page about this a little bit later. But it was on my heart just to come and say something that I was just thinking about. You know, I know a lot of folks are getting ready for their rallies and protests later on today. And I think it's really important for the organizing community, the labor community, and those people who are actively engaged in and have been pulling together protests for many, many years that have the skill set to really make sure, or at least try in our own creative ways to reclaim our streets. Just watching some of what's happening, it's very clear that the provocateurs are in our mix, right? There's antagonizers in our mix. And because a lot of our young people are not generally trained, or, not that you have to be trained to protest and to speak your piece, but because a lot of them, this may be their first time being a part of the movement, and not even just young people, but all the people. Like, it's a lot of new faces that show up each time we have these big movements. And because there is, people are in their high, emotions are high, a lot's going on. What can often happen is that people get influenced, dragged into, or end up in a situation that they don't really want to be in. So, for instance, if I'm at a protest, I know how to keep myself, for the most part, from getting arrested, right? Because I've been doing it for so long. I can look around and tell when they're starting to barricade an area. I can see from the very beginning when barricades are starting to come up around an area. And when I say barricades, I'm not even talking about physical barricades. I'm talking about like people, police officers barricading folks in and blocking off certain sections. You could tell when you walk up what their strategy is going to be. Not everybody knows that. So it's a lot of people. I've been getting calls all night from folks who have been arrested, and they didn't even mean to get arrested, right? They weren't even trying. They have kids, they have families, they may be undocumented people who have issues with their police record, and they're not even really trying to get arrested, but they're out there and they're protesting. And then because certain things happen and they're not really sure how to move, you'll have situations where people get caught up in things. So that doesn't mean they threw a brick or that they were looting or burning anything, but just because they're in that situation, things can happen. And so, for the organizers, and I understand, and that this whole decentralized movement is a strategy. Like, don't let people tell you that somebody's got to be the leader of the protest, because they do not. The decentralized movement where folks are just coming out their homes, meeting up with people, and taking to the streets is important, and it is a strategy, because the other side of it is that these folks would love to be able to pin certain things, whether your organization or your group has something to do with whatever happens or not. They would love to be able to choose certain ones of us and say, oh, this group was in charge of the protest and this violence happened, and therefore X, Y, and Z. And so, you have that issue. And again, I think the decentralized movement is important. It has been very effective in the last few years in terms of how folks have been moving. And, in fact, it's not a new model. Ella Baker talked about decentralized movement strategies many years ago, and actually there are books out there where it quotes her and really explains her ideas on decentralized movements. However, there still needs to be somewhere that people can go for organization if that's what they want, if that's what they're looking for some leadership, passive leadership. Just, here's the things to look out for. You need a phone number in case you get arrested. Like, you need a phone number written in your hand of the attorneys that you can call. Someone else may need your phone number. So that's another big piece, is that and when we do protests, we make sure to have the telephone numbers of family members of those people who are out there hitting the ground with us, so that if something happens, you know who to call. You need to your name needs to be in some type of system so that we can, I'm going to have to block you, sister, because I don't have the energy today. I'm telling you, I cuss people out bad lately. So I'm going to have to put you on block so you can get up off my live. Anyway, and so people who, so the phone number, so if you get locked up and you're in the system, there are bail funds. My organization, Until Freedom, is donating to bail funds across the country. We did a lot here in Minneapolis, and we're going to be doing more. We've been posting different groups that folks should support as well. And shout out to all of you. Thank you so much. Those of you who have, did I pin the damn comment? Like, I don't even know how to use this stupid thing, but okay, if she comes back, then I could throw out. Anyway, so thank all of you so much who have been donating and have been supporting us. And we have been taking the resources and donating to other folks and trying to make sure that, because we are a national organization and we came to a local community, we know it's important for us to share our resources. We also know that we're privileged to have a lot of folks out there who know us, celebrities and just people in general who know us. They know our work. They know the quality of our work. And a lot of people are very supportive of us. And so since we know that, we have an obligation to ensure that smaller groups or less known groups who are on the ground, that they get support as well. Those groups are helping with bail funds. Those groups get up in the middle of the night and go bail out people individually, collectively. And so if you are out there protesting, somebody needs to know that you're on the street. Like, we're in a situation now where these officers and the government and all that we see happening, like they're on a whole different level. I saw in New York, I can't wait to get to New York, because I don't know what the hell makes the mayor and our police commissioner, that's a whole different thing. I'm going to do a whole different live on that. But the mayor is defending police officers running into a crowd when nobody was behind them and they could have backed the fuck up. But that's a whole different day. So, with things like that, you already see, and I think Shaun King posted that he basically has about 37 different instances. I saw a girl with a hole in her head from the rubber bullet. I saw, another woman, a black woman, who I don't know exactly how she got shot, but she was bleeding on the ground. She didn't look good. I'm sure, she was alive, but she didn't look good. I saw a man being carried, who also, I don't know, he looked pretty lifeless to me. Like, it's serious out there. And the fact of the matter is that we've been in a war. We've been in a war. There's been a war against black people for a long time. And now we're in a space where some people have really been pushed to insanity. They have been pushed to a place where it's very difficult to walk them back. And we're doing the work. We're doing the work to try to walk people off the ledge, help people understand that going in stores and looting and tearing up things, while it may feel satisfying in the moment, and while I certainly can understand that if you feel like you can't really fight this system the way you want to, you don't really know what else to do, and that frustration sometimes can turn into things, that are not necessarily going to help us get to the end goal. We have major momentum in this this country right now. We've got the momentum. Doesn't matter whether they send out the National Guard. They know they have a problem where Americans are on the streets, mainly people who are nonviolent. I'm not going to sit here and say that these are people who are peaceful, because I don't feel peaceful. I don't like that word. I'm not using the word peaceful. I don't like it at all. We say all the time, no justice, no peace. And I've heard people who use they say that, they chant that, they lead that chant, no justice, no peace. And they say it in protest, but now they're like on TV talking about peaceful. Like, nah, it don't work, right? Like, we say no justice, no peace. That means we're not in a peaceful mood at all. We're in a space where we have to raise hell, period. We're raising hell. And I'm totally with the shits. However, it's important for people to understand that there are folks among us that are not with us. I think Alicia Garza say something yesterday, that there are people who want to change America also, but they're not trying to change it for what we're trying to change it for, right? So they don't give a damn about us. And they're using this opportunity. When I see my pastor on my live, I got to say, hey, Pastor, I love you. But they're using this opportunity to create confusion, because wherever there's confusion, you can't necessarily get the justice that we deserve. And we have a righteous cause, y'all. We have a righteous cause to take to the streets. When they say that we need to that there's a curfew, fuck their curfew. We don't have to go in the house, because at the end of the day, we dying anyway. Like, our people dying anyway. Our kids are sitting up watching. I was thinking the other day, my son is 21 years old. He literally has grown up. He has been raised in the era where he watched people die on social media all the time. Like, that's ingrained in him. And so, I know that just where we are at this point, we're in a space where we got to be really mindful about what's going on around us, right? We've got to be, that's what somebody said, God is not of confusion. And that's true, right? Yes, decentralized. We're moving in the ways in which we move so that people can't necessarily box us in and pin us in and try to pit us against one another. But even in that, there is some form of that's organization, and that's a strategy. But those people who, when children are at protests and you start throwing things and breaking stuff in the middle of the protest, or throwing things at police officers and not being mindful of these babies that's out here with you, those people are not our people. And I've been watching it in Minneapolis. I've been watching, everything is going well. And it's not passive just because you ain't breaking shit. Like, it's not passive. These people have been up against the system. They have been resisting. They have been demanding. And then in the midst of everything that's going on, you see somebody just like do something that is totally off the wall and outside of what we're trying to accomplish in that moment. And you have to ask yourself, is that just a frustrated young person that we need to pull in and talk to him and give him the resources and the love that he needs? Or is that someone who is trying to set us up so that we can end up in a situation where our message and the narrative around our message is shifted? And, I have to go, so I'm not going to talk much longer, but here's what I will say. I will say to you all that, and before I even get to that, it's real dangerous. Like, it's dangerous because, well, let me go back and say what I was going to say. There is a time when there are people who need to be on the front line to take whatever it is that comes to them. If that's the battle that they're ready to go up against, there are people who are out there that they can do that, right? That may be their decision. But even that has to be coordinated, because I know when I was young, we were told, right, wrong, or indifferent. I'm not here for a judgment. I'm just here to see. Can do judging everybody another time. But right, wrong, or indifferent, when some shit was about to go down in the projects where I grew up, they would tell women and children, it's time for you to get off the streets. They did not allow women and children to be in the parks and outside when certain types of things were going to happen, right? Nowadays, that ain't this, it's not the same, and it's a different conversation, because we need to talk about that, how our people, our young people, when they're when they're outside, certain zones need to be safe zones in general. But we understanding where we are now, whenever people think it's okay to put the lives of different folks around them in danger, you have to ask, who are these people? And we know from history, whether it be the Black Panther movement, whether it be Dr. King, all of the different movements, and the Black Lives Matter movement, which is in more recent history, we know for sure that provocateurs and antagonists get into our movements. Trying to hit me and Anita, but we know that provocateurs and antagonists, they get into our movements and they cause problems on purpose. They are there to set off dangerous situations so that we are off message. And so the next day, instead of the media talking about what it is that we're trying to get done, they're able to spin the narrative to looting and violence and what have you. So I just want to say, and the last thing I'm going to say on that, and then I'll wrap it up. If you're out there and you see young people, out there, and you know that things are going, this is the time when we have to be a community. We have to be a community. We've got to get our young people, call them in and give them direction. Tell them, hey, y'all, this is what we doing. We ain't doing that. I saw two kids getting ready to get into a fight on the highway. Black men got out their cars, came out of everywhere and was like, nah, we're not doing that. And that's what our people need. That's what our young people need. They don't need your criticism about how, the looting is, you just looting for no reason. Nah, some people is hurting. Some people are already unemployed. 40 million Americans don't have jobs. So some of these kids is out here like, what the hell, right? Might as well go get our whatever it is that we want, right? But they need direction. They need somebody to pull them in, call them in, bring them close, and let them know, like, listen, that's not what we're doing. This is what we're doing. Young people, they love direction. Actually, they do. And that's our job, because then we'll be able to root out the people who are there for us and with us, and those who are not, those who are there for their own agenda. And my last point, this is my slam dam, and I'm gone. White folks, if you're a white person who is on this live right now, and you show up at a protest and you're louder than the Black people who are actually at the center of this pain, you are not part of the problem. You are the problem. You are the problem if you are a white person and your voice is louder than the Black people who are actually experiencing the pain. Now, that doesn't mean that you should not put your body in front of, that's what you should be focusing on. Put your body in front of my body if you feel that I'm in harm's way. But I don't need you to center yourself in conversation, in protest, in chants, and everything else, and to try to take over what it is that we're doing. You are the problem if you are louder and wilder and everything else than the people who have organized or the Black people who are out there on the front lines. Your job is to be there to get other white people. That is your job. Your job is to collect white people. So when you see white people throwing things or causing problems where there are children around, your job is to get white people. Get your white people. Go up in these damn state houses, courthouses, police stations, in your own house with your own families. Go there and talk to your people. But do not come to protest and become the center of attention. Do not do that. That is not being a good ally. Maybe you think so. And I understand the passion from the whole country is high. Everybody is tired. Everyone has seen what happened to George. I keep wanting to call him Greg, but George Floyd and Breonna Taylor and Ahmaud Arbery, Lord have mercy, my brain, Ahmaud Arbery. And the list goes on and on and on. I'm not going to keep on messing up people's names, right? So everybody has seen all of this. We all know We know the cases. We know we want other officers, the 3 other officers, to be arrested. We know we want them convicted. We know we want them sentenced. We all know all the things that we feel need to happen. And so we're out here for the same things. I've been talking to white folks who are like, I'm not going home until these things happen because I cannot rest. So we need you. But you have to understand that being a good ally is finding out what we need, how we need you, and then supporting us, but not trying to take over, because you taking over is putting us at risk. When y'all finish tearing up the streets and doing all the things that you're doing and being the loudest and the wildest, they do not go into your communities and terrorize you all afterwards. They show up in our communities where the cameras are not watching, and they terrorize our people. They terrorize Black people. That's what they do. Black, brown, poor people. So that's it. Like, let's get some order around here, even though it's orderless order. You need orderless order. And we need to be doing that. So I'm going to be talking more about this, because what I see happening on the news, and trust me, you're not going to hear me out here telling people calm down, go home. You'll never hear me saying any of that, because we're not calming down. We're not going home. We're not punking out. We don't give a damn what type of forces they put on us. We're going to keep on going up against this system, because right now we have the ability, this is this moment that we have to really, really push for what it is that we deserve. This is a righteous cause. You are righteous in your frustration, your anger, and your rage. But you also have to be strategic. We also have to be smart. So let's just remember that as we go forward. Let's organize, let's penetrate, let's do what it is that we need to do, and let's wrap our arms around our young people. Let's not talk bad about them. Let's not post bad about them. Let's get out there with them, or do whatever we need to do to support our young people, because they need us. They are hurting. Black men are hurting. Black mothers are hurting. And that's what we need to be focusing our attention on. So much love to y'all. I got to run to take care of things today. Your support is beyond anything that I could ever imagine. And we are together in this battle. We're together in this. We came to a point. People have been trying to tell folks for years. Dr. King was trying to tell them. Rosa Parks was trying to tell them. Everybody been trying to tell them. And here we are in this moment. And all we can do is make sure that we protect ourselves and protect the sanctity of what we're doing. Because this is a holy moment. It's a holy moment. And that's how we got to approach it. One love, y'all. Talk soon. Peace.